What if the thing you want the most isn't just something you're chasing, but something that's chasing you back? What if the desire that keeps you up at night, the one you can't seem to let go of no matter how much you try to distract yourself, isn't a problem, or a test, or something you need to figure out, but a promise from a deeper part of you, a sign that it's already yours? This changes everything. Because then it's no longer about whether it will happen, or if you're using the right technique, or if you've ruined your chances. It's about realizing that wanting it is proof that it's already yours, and the only thing standing between now and that reality is what's still being believed about the self. Most people never see it that way. Most get stuck chasing outcomes, doubting themselves, and thinking something outside needs to change first. But today's going to flip that entire mindset. This isn't about how to manifest something. It's about understanding why it's even possible in the first place, and why you're the only one who can claim it. From the outside, it looks like people are choosing what they want: a job, a relationship, success, peace. But when the layers are pulled back, it becomes obvious that nobody actually sat down and picked those desires logically. They just appeared, as if they were already part of the wiring. There's no logical explanation for why certain things feel so personal, why one goal lights someone up while another person feels nothing toward it. It's not something learned from others or copied from society, because even if it was seen on the outside, something deep inside said, "That's mine." That spark wasn't created, it was remembered. The reason this matters is because most of the stress and anxiety around manifestation comes from the belief that everything is up to figuring out the right method or fixing every flaw. But when it's realized that the desire itself didn't even come from the conscious mind, it suddenly makes sense that it's not the conscious mind's job to make it happen either. It's already been placed there for a reason. That reason isn't random. It's a message from the deeper self saying this is who you're meant to be. This changes how the whole journey is viewed. Instead of chasing something as if it's far away, it becomes about answering a calling that already lives inside. That desire is proof that it already belongs to the self. Otherwise, it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be so persistent. It wouldn't feel so personal. So instead of wondering if it's possible or if the right steps are being followed, it's time to pause and realize the most important truth: that it was never chosen from ego, it was planted by something higher, and that higher part always knows what it's doing. One of the biggest frustrations in manifestation is feeling a strong desire while watching life reflect the opposite. It creates this tension, this question of, if it's mine, why don't I have it yet? But that question only shows up when the process is misunderstood. The desire isn't far away because it's being withheld. It feels far because the inner self hasn't yet become the version that fully accepts it. Not because it's not possible, but because something inside is still holding on to an identity that doesn't match it. Most people don't fail at manifestation because they're doing it wrong. They fail because they're still being who they used to be while trying to step into a life that doesn't match that version. The old beliefs, the doubt, the need for proof, it all creates a wall that keeps the new reality out, and yet the desire keeps showing up. That's how powerful it is. Even when everything in the 3D looks wrong, the desire doesn't give up. That's not coincidence, that's direction. So it's not about trying harder, doing more, or stressing over the method. It's about becoming more aware of what's being accepted on the inside, because the state of being, the identity that's being lived in, day by day, is what shapes the outcome. If life still looks the same, it's not because the desire disappeared, it's because the inner world hasn't changed enough to reflect it yet. This is the real reason why no technique will work if it's used from a place of lack or fear. It's not about what's done, it's about who's doing it. If the version of self that's doing the technique still feels unworthy or unsure, the result will show that. But if the self begins to truly shift into someone who knows it's already done, then nothing can stop it from showing up. Not time, not logic, not the past. Because the moment it's accepted as true, internally, the external world has no choice but to follow. Desires aren't just about getting something. They exist to pull out parts of the self that were always there but buried under old stories. It may seem like the goal is the relationship, the money, the lifestyle, but those are just symbols. The real purpose of desire is transformation. The thing being craved is just the surface layer. The deeper mission is expansion. Every time a new desire arises, it's pointing out a limitation that's ready to be outgrown. This is where the real freedom begins, because once it's seen that the desire is actually helping grow beyond fear, doubt, and self-sabotage, it stops feeling like a struggle and starts feeling like a map. It's showing where the current identity is still too small. It's revealing what needs to be released, not to get the thing faster, but to finally become the version of self who no longer needs to chase it. And that's the irony. As soon as the identity shifts into the version who already is that person, the desire stops being a need and becomes a natural extension of who they are. It can finally show up, because it's no longer being blocked by resistance, doubt, or obsession. Desires are sacred. They were never meant to make life harder. They were meant to wake up the parts of the self that forgot how powerful they are. The goal isn't to fight for the desire. The goal is to let it do what it came to do, pull you out of the limitations and into the truth. It's easy to look at what's happening and assume it's proof that something is wrong. When life doesn't match the desire, the instinct is to panic, to question, to doubt. But what's showing up outside is never an indicator of what's possible. It's just a reflection of who's being identified with on the inside. The current life isn't permanent. It's just a mirror of the dominant state being lived in. This is why it's possible to want something deeply and still not see it. Because while the conscious mind is saying, I want this, the subconscious identity might still be saying, this isn't for me. That disconnect is what creates delays. It's not the desire that's the problem. It's the state that needs to shift. This is not about blaming yourself or feeling guilty. It's about finally realizing the power that's always been there. The self is the cause, not in a heavy, pressure-filled way, but in a liberating way. Because if the self is the cause, that means nothing outside needs to change before things can shift. The choice is always there, in every moment, to think differently, feel differently, respond differently. The past doesn't matter. What someone else said or did doesn't matter. Even what's happening right now doesn't define what's coming. What matters is what's being accepted as true right now, about the self, about the desire, about the future. There's nothing more powerful than deciding to believe in a new version of reality, and then watching that version begin to take shape, moment by moment. This is how everything begins, not through struggle, but through surrender to the truth that was always there. When a desire shows up, it's not something to chase, it's something to receive. It's a quiet message from within, offering a new path. Not everyone accepts it. Some doubt it, some fear it, some try to force it. But those who accept it, not as a hope, but as a truth, step into an entirely new version of themselves. The invitation is always there. The question is never about whether it will happen, it's about whether it will be believed. Because once something is accepted as already done, the world begins to shape itself around that assumption. That's not magic, that's how reality works. There's no need to check constantly, no need to fix, chase, or prove. The desire is not something earned, it's something remembered, and it was always meant to be yours. Accepting it doesn't mean doing more. It means letting go of everything that says you can't have it. Every doubt, every fear, every memory that told a story of failure. Those are not part of the version of self that holds this desire. And the only real work is deciding to stop identifying with them. Because what's meant for you has never been at risk. It's been waiting for you to say yes, not with words but with identity. With a state of being that says, this is who I am now. And once that's claimed, life has no choice but to meet you there. If this shifted something inside you, even just a little, drop a comment below and share what clicked. What desire have you been doubting that now feels a little more like a promise? Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.